Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, you want to be shallow, you want to go up the
You want
creek,
to have a kayak that is sophisticated.
or a kayak that is simple.
You get to choose your own adventure.
Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing. What's up, everyone? We're here live after the Wild Whitehall, and oh my goodness, I want to skip to the Ryan Parker caught a giant, and we're going to talk to him. We're going to get details. That fish is amazing. We do have a little bit of an intro here. We want to tell you guys, we're going to give you some news and notes and do all that, and then we're going to jump in with Ryan Parker, and I think he's going to give up the juice. Pretty sure.
Ooh, really?
I don't know. I was there, so if he doesn't, maybe I will. I watched him do it.
You were right there with him?
I was right there with him all day. So
all day you were right there. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Well, I'm still living a wild Whitehall life, sort of, so to speak, in a way. I mean, I'm up here in Michigan still on Lake Superior. Look at this. You guys probably see this. Right there's the lake.
Nice. Is that the Superior Lake?
Right from the Airbnb. Now, unfortunately, there's not really any smallies out there. So it's so cold and so far north, this lake is just doesn't. I don't think they're really like here. Like every once in a while, they said they catch them, but it's just not like the main area. They're more in the inland lakes and rivers, which I'm going to be hitting tomorrow. Finally, I'm going to get it some time with my father-in-law. We're going to try to go out there, maybe take Theo and catch a smallie or two in these inland lakes. So we'll see. But it's been fun, man. Taking a little vacation with the family and been a good time. So, Jake, how's your recovery been since the busy weekend?
Clearly rough. I shaved my beard. I needed a fresh start.
Yeah, just start over.
I had a good time. I mean, I'm still like super tired and I'm behind on everything, but I had a good time. I caught a lot of smallmouth while I was there. So, a lot of smallmouth.
We did get
on the water.
Me and Drew
went on a kayak adventure. That was fun.
That's true. Yep. Yeah, that was fun. We did have a good time, actually. I got on the water more than I thought I was going to get on the water at that event.
That was a cool stretch we did. It was like really a kayak adventure. Like you're literally like in like the skinniest water you can almost get in. So
yep, it was crazy. You caught this one cool fish. You guys can go check out his Instagram reel right by on this little creek that I found on the map. I was like, I think they could be up here. They could have moved up here spawning or whatever. And literally Jake just was jigging. What was that? The
freeloader.
What was that? Yeah, freeloader. Under this little tree. I'm talking like it's this deep, but it's crystal clear. If that. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, this smallmouth that was like 16 inches.
17. Yeah, somewhere in that range.
Comes out and just smashes it. And I got the GoPro, I filmed it. It was pretty cool. That was definitely an adventure. We had a good time. So it was a good mix of work and play for us. I'm always like stress and just I know I'm there so that you guys watching here, not you two, well, also you two, but more so the people watching are just, so you guys can have a good time. So I'm always like worried about everything else that's going on, have all these responsibilities and sponsors and tourism people, and it's overwhelming for me. But I actually still had a really good time and enjoyed myself.
The city was super welcoming.
Very welcoming. Wow.
I loved it. I mean, they were there, they were supporting us. Everybody was there. Like they had like the main two people from the city of the Commerce, but then there was like other people that were just like, we're here, we're going to support you guys. They didn't know anything about kayak fishing, but they still showed up.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was cool. I will say this, and Bill, you can even pull this up on the website if you want. I didn't prep you on this, but the recap is up. We're getting these recaps up ASAP, guys. So go check out kayakadventureseries.com. It's the first slider that comes up on the main homepage. Our recap is done. Hank Vegian. Hank, do I say that right? I don't know if I ever say his last name. Vegian. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. Hank is the man. He writes for so many different kayak publications. He writes for us, and he whipped up this recap right away. He calls Parker on the phone Ryan Parker here, and literally gets his interview, talks to Jesse in second place. I mean, gets it all. And then Jake, huge thanks to you, man, getting all these photos compiled together in one Google Drive document, and then boom, I just go in there, add the photos where I need to, and boom,
You know what?
there's the dumb basses. Look at that.
Having a jet boat made finding those anglers super easy.
Yeah, that was cool. And the New Canoe winners are there. That was exciting to see them. Some Bass U brunch
Yeah,
photos.
she was so pumped because I talked to her. I did like a little interview after the fact, and she was telling me that like they kind of have like budget kayaks right now. Like, because I asked her, I was like, "Are you gonna keep it or are you gonna sell it? Like, what are you gonna do with it?" And she was like, "Oh, we have like hoodoos right now. We're gonna keep it. We're so excited to upgrade to this nicer kayak because that U10 is a sick kayak."
Mhm.
So I was
It is.
really excited for the kayak.
Yeah, that's really exciting to see it go to someone who needs it. Is cool. I'm gonna add
Exactly.
that back, Billy, real quick. I'm gonna add this back just to show. Scroll down these galleries right here, guys. Are the on water galleries, and then even at the bottom, there's another gallery that's called awards, winners and awards. So if you're looking for a photo to use for your social media, for whatever, make sure you tag Kayak Adventure Series, hashtag KAS 2024, and KAS, and hashtag Wild Whitehall. And of
And
course,
if you know
now
you
we
were
can
in a
pull that off if
photo
you want now.
and you don't see it, hit me up because we have it. Trust me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we got a lot of photos. Actually, some more even still coming, right? And we got another.
right. I've
A lot of
got more I'll
the
add. I just wanted to get the good ones up and
yeah, exactly. So it's up, guys. And then what else? Oh, footage. If you got any footage from this event, please send it to us. Hey, show them the link while you're on the page, Billy.
it
On
should be up
the
top on the Epic
up
Edit.
top.
We
Show them
did
the
get
link,
some
guys. How you submit
submissions.
footage.
We did
We
get some
want your footage.
submissions.
We still want it. We want it all, guys. If you kind of doesn't matter 15, 16, 17. We want that footage. It's upload footage under media or under 4 anglers. You can also go under 4 anglers and click upload footage and just send it. All you need is your name, the date, and that's it. It's so easy. Yeah, under 4 anglers, you can also go there. Well, I think it was under the drop down. I'm not sure. Yeah, there it is. It's actually there as well, as it should be. So,
And I've got some footage that we could play during this if we want to. Some people submitted some
yeah,
pretty
we
cool
can show
stuff.
some.
There's a really cool clip that Edie submitted that I think would be a cool one to watch together. I don't think you guys have seen it. So,
Oh no, I haven't seen it. I'd love to see that. I mean, isn't she
Yeah.
the one that got stranded at the boat ramp?
I think so.
Edie, I think she did. Top female. She didn't make it back. She was there for 3 hours in the rain. She said, stranded at the boat ramp. She sent me the email, but she's safe.
Oh
and
yeah, I
she's
saw that.
excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she got stranded at the boat ramp and had a good event. So she is not complaining, other than the fact that she was bummed to miss the awards. But anything else from a Lions End perspective, the beginning here? I know you guys, we're going to touch this. Let's just let everyone know what's going on this show. Obviously, I'm here on vacation. I'm going to dip out a little early, try to help get the kids to bed. And we're, like I said, up on vacation. But I wanted to be a part of this. I wanted to at least congratulate Parker myself again. Right here, other than, he and I and Alex obviously on stage. That was a cool moment, but I want to talk to him a little bit, ask him a couple questions before you guys really grill him even further. And then at the end of when we get done with Ryan Parker, why don't you guys chat a little bit about Ozarkana and what's going to happen next week? We'll try to get Josh Booth on the show next week if he's available. But we're going to definitely hit up and start really, really getting excited and pumping up Ozarkana. And you guys can kind of dive into that a little bit at the end here. But I think other than that, just that, we can kind of roll into Brian Parker whenever he gets in here. He'll probably be in here pretty soon.
He's right there.
You guys say he's got,
Yeah, I
is
can
he
bring
in
him
here
in
already?
now.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
He's in here.
All right,
He's
let's
in.
do it. The champion, Ryan
The champ
Parker.
is here.
Yeah, he's here.
Where's the hardware, man?
He's muted.
Oh, he's
Oh,
muted.
he's muted.
Here, I'll
Hang on,
unmute him.
you unmute him, yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here, dude. Where's the trophy? Where's the hardware?
It's in my basement, an hour away.
Oh, okay.
I'm at my buddy's parents' lake house doing some work, so I've kind of got the place to myself. And
Nice.
but it's this is where I grew up, so this is like it's kind of like a full circle thing. This is where I cut my teeth, learned to bass fish, and so yeah.
you know how to bass fish?
Cool.
A little bit. No, it's on a lake that's 6 feet deep out here in Western Ohio, and there's not a smallmouth anywhere near me.
That's crazy. We'll let
That's
you off
on
the hook
brand.
then. You don't have, yeah, he doesn't have hardware, but we'll let him off the hook since he's not at home with it, but I'm sure it's safe and sound. So, dude, how does it feel, man? Is it still like hit you yet that you won this cool new, national event?
Yeah, it's definitely still a little surreal. It's sinking in, um, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to just like I put a lot into it, just fishing wise in general, and the amount of stuff I've learned about river fishing, lake fishing, whatever. But to kind of have it all come together and work in a tournament is yeah, it's kind of surreal.
Well, yeah, no doubt. You guys chime in too when you got some questions, Jake and Billy. I'll start with this one. Did you know, did you know you were going to target river and smallmouth? Like, was that your primary thing? You just kind of focused on that. So tell
Yeah.
us about the pre-fishing and how you ended up, there in that section of river. Because it doesn't seem like you figured out, and this is a little foreshadowing. It doesn't seem like in the practice you knew about, or maybe you did really about the trout eating thing that was going on. But tell us how you ended up there. And obviously you figured it out in the tournament, but pre-fishing, let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I had like before I ever left home, like I had it down to 2 bodies of water that I was going to fish. Bass Lake, which was only if the rivers blew out somehow, and then I pretty much just knew like Muskegon, Grand River. I'm not familiar with big rivers, so I just kind of X that one off. White River was it to me. It felt like it was going to be too small if a lot of people went there, so I just kind of picked the Muskegon, and then I learned that it was a tail race, so I started watching the Croton Dam gauge temperature like religiously for like weeks ahead of the event, and I think like a week and a half before it was dumping like 57 degrees, and I was like, "Ooh, these fish haven't spawned yet."
Right.
So as it got closer and closer, I think I saw what was that 60? I think it was like 64 degrees coming out of the dam. I was like, "Now's the time."
Nice.
I can and like Google Earth, you can see where the sand starts and where the rock is. So I kind of even had it narrowed down to just that, like I don't know, 14 miles down from the dam was where I really wanted to look. And I knew there were trout in the river, and if I know anything about smallmouth, it's that whatever's in the river, they're gonna eat. But
Yeah, they're the
like
alpha. They're the
yeah,
alpha fish.
yeah, they're
Alpha
aggressive. They yeah.
Yeah.
Wherever you're at. I mean, if it's the Susquehanna, it's shiners and crawdads. If you're, in my backyard, it's crawdads, rainbow darters, and whatever other darters are in there. So I kind of knew it, but I was looking for spawning fish. I was looking for that pre-spawn, post-spawn, or especially the spawning fish, which I found a lot of. Just it was a real pain to get anything to stay on the bed long enough to get them to bite. So in practice, I didn't do a lot of actual fishing. I just did a lot of looking because the water was so clear.
So they're spawning in current, in some pretty swift current, it sounds like. Is that because they have no choice? They have no choice, or
yeah, I think so.
We definitely saw some in like the slack areas too. Like I think it was kind of a mix. Because I caught a few off the bed too when I was fishing that same stretch, literally that you wanted on. There were some beds, and they were kind of like they were in current, but it was like more of like the chill current. It's like where it wasn't
Saturday, those beds were empty. I found them in practice, and I went back to them again like on Saturday, and I was like, shoot, like all these ones are empty now. And the ones I was still finding were, I don't know, 5-6 feet down, I think was about how far you could see down, but they were in the deep fast cuts, and they were in the undercurrent or the under eddies, like the undercurrent eddies. under all that fast current, and you could sit
Mhm.
there and like just look straight down. You're like, man, that's a
And
19 or 20, and you couldn't get anything to stay there long enough for
yeah,
them to
you
eat it.
actually came up with a pretty unique way to catch them in that current. Well, at
Oh,
least
you
one of
did.
them.
Yeah.
I well, I so my half day Friday, I found a little backwater that had a lot of largemouth in it. It was, I don't know, halfway up the Muskegon River. Um, it wasn't very big, and I caught a 19 and a half there in practice, and I kind of decided like, okay, that Friday, I know what I have sitting for me up the river with smallmouth, but if I can get some like kicker, 19, 20 largemouth, like that, that'll carry through the rest of the tournament. Um, the water dropping a foot definitely, I think, changed that bite, and I was just never able to relocate those fish, as that all that vegetation matted over. But because of that, it like the light bulb went off Saturday. I was like, dude, you still have punching weights in your boat. And I grabbed a 1 ounce tungsten
Hmm.
and put it on a baby goat with like a 3/0 hook. And I can down. I'm like, I'm sure this fish is 19 at least. Um, and it bit it immediately. I was able to keep it in its bed. It bit it immediately. I set the hook and I tied a bad knot, and it busted. It broke off.
Jeez.
Or my knot failed. And I was like, this fish is not going to bite again. It's not even locked on the bed. I watched it try and push females onto the bed, tie up the whole same setup, flip it back in there. It smoked it again. And that was a 19 and a half. And I was like, okay, I can get these fish now.
Mhm.
And then
So
go ahead.
I was gonna say, so back up. So on Friday, you did not go to your smallmouth. You tried. So pre-fishing, you just kind of looked in this 14-mile section, found some fish on beds. Did you know that? I know you just love river fishing, so I might know the answer to this. But did you choose this river in smallmouth because you thought it was the way, like the best way, had the best odds to win over the largemouth, or is it just because you just enjoy fishing for smallmouth and rivers a little bit more than lakes and largemouth?
It's what I know the best.
Yeah,
I
it's your strength.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah. I
Okay.
picked the Muskegon because it seemed familiar, the right size, like size wise,
Yeah.
everything about it just seemed. I was like, I know how these rivers fish. Like I know clear water, I know fast water,
Hmm.
um, and the further I can get away from the lake and into the rocks and stuff, that's like home. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. So, because if anyone did the research in this event, and I said it, you guys remember Jake and Billy on so many shows, I don't know how this event will be won. I can't, like, and I actually was legitimate. Like, I wasn't just being coy. I think it could have been one with largemouth and it could have been one with smallmouth, like very easily, because they both top out at a similar size up there.
There was a pretty
And
good
I
mix
know
in the
people,
top
what's that?
5.
Yeah, there
There
was
was
a
a
good
good
mix.
mix. Yeah.
There was. Yeah, you're right. And people, I know a guy who caught a 20 and 3/4 inch largemouth in practice, a PB. There's a lot of big largemouth up there.
Well, that one guy caught a
But
22 and a half in practice.
yeah, a 22 and a
Right
half.
there in
See, I don't
front of
remember.
our hotel off the marina with live scope. So
Yeah, so there's giant largemouth in there, but I thought that was kind of the answer to the question, Ryan. And you just love and enjoy that fish in that environment. So that's kind of why you chose that. And you also knew it wasn't like you were going to be at some disadvantage going because they both top out at a similar, and you just happened to catch one, which we'll get into later, that topped out about as big as you can catch in that area. You know what I mean? So Friday, what did you end up with? Where were you on the leaderboard? Do you remember where you were on day 1 on the afternoon sesh?
I think I was 26 with like 69 and change.
Yeah.
I was sub 70 inches, like just by a little bit, but
nice.
I normally I like if it was like a real 2-day event, like a Hobie or a Bassmaster or something, like I'd have been sweating. Like it's like to just catch a check. But I knew this time I was like, I know what I'm getting into, and it's better than what I started with here.
Right.
So kind of that was nice that like half Friday because I was able to gamble on that one spot.
Mhm.
And I did end up finding probably another 19 or 20 inch smallmouth on the way back with like 20 minutes left, and it bit 3 times, just never got the hook.
Oh, on Friday.
You
So
really
did any of
needed
your
you
Friday
would have
fish?
really padded the stats then. You would have had
Oh,
a
you would have really,
Canadian
yeah.
victory.
I mean, I think someone could have hit 100. I'll say this because you looked mostly during practice. I fished a little bit. I know I talked to so many anglers, one-on-one, not going to say anything to any other anglers that were, I mean, like giving me the look, and they were like, I'm on them. Like, I'm on them. And they were like being like, you know what I mean? Like they were nervous about it, but they were like, oh yeah, and people were saying, 18s and 18s and halves are going to be a dime a dozen at this tournament. Like I really like people in practice were catching the fish were biting where they could have had 100 inches or near there, 95 to 100. And people were saying it might take 103, 105 to win this thing, but the bite wasn't that great on Friday. Saturday, it got a little bit better. But I think people either wore some of their fish out or just the bite wasn't as good as it was in practice because everybody in practice was smashing big fish. So did any of your fish from Friday end up on your 5-fish stringer?
None of them.
Yeah, none of them.
None of them.
So
the water being up, like I caught some fish during practice. I was hitting like mid 80s without trying too hard, and I kind of just put my baits away, just quit fishing altogether because I was like, I can see the fish in the river, so why catch them? Well, I'm not going to beat them up, I'll save them for Friday or Saturday, really.
Wow, this sounds eerily similar to, I mean, a lot of stuff I've always talked about on some of my podcasts after some of my wins, like in pre-fishing, skinny water, shallow water, areas that aren't like some offshore hump that's got a school of 100 fish. I've always said, maybe you've listened to some of my stuff. I don't know, Ryan. But like I just looked in pre-fishing. I catch 1 fish or 2 fish and that's it. And then I stop and I look and I look and I look. And then, but what's crazy, what this sounds similar is 10 killer, Bassmaster. Largemouth in a slough, a backwater slough. You said you had that on Friday and you went there. I would start there, get fish. And then I was scared, quote unquote, scared in a way with how clear the main river was. And it was in the 50s there, probably maybe pushing high 50s, but very similar, crystal clear and giant smallmouth were in there. If I could just somehow freaking get them to bite. And it sounds like this was your task on this adventure here. So Saturday. Moving into Saturday. So now, what was the game plan? So just walk us through that day, kind of how it went. I mean, did it happen early? Was it later?
I fully expected it to happen early. I actually thought that, like, if I'm going to do this, the way the bite had been going, I was like, in the first 3 hours, it's going to happen. And I think I had 2 bites in the first 3 hours. I think I put 2 fish in the boat and like small culls.
Was Billy still in them all?
Actually, one was an 18. So that wasn't a small call, but
Ryan Parker.
But it was not it was not the bite that I expected and that I had been experiencing early in the day. I think the overcast sky and like the rain and stuff kind of helped keep them out and about, but I kind of knew, like, okay, the water had fallen a foot, like they're not going to be stacked up in these high water areas anymore, they're going to scatter out. And my mind was still on the bedfish, all the fish congregating around those spawning areas. Like, let's see. And so that was my focus, like where I was finding those deeper beds. That was a lot of my focus for really the first half of the day.
But the water was different. The level was different than any of your practice days in this river.
They dropped probably a foot and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a new puzzle to solve now, basically.
Yep.
Start from scratch because it's not the same. When they drop the water a foot, that's a whole other ball game because they don't feed as well when they, they stop generating, at these dams. So that is tricky how you're able to pull this off with no real, I mean, obviously there's still current. They got maybe one going or whatever. They got a lower number of generators, but that's crazy. That's wild. So then so you got an 18, which probably ended up on your stringer in the morning. So at least you got 1 good fish. So now you need 4 more. How'd you end up getting those 4 good ones to fill out that 93 1/4? You ended up
Well, hold on. So the 18 was not first thing in the morning. So, because I was fishing with Parker, he had things figured out, like you talked about. We started fishing. We saw the trout were kind of busting on the top. We went down and
they weren't busting yet. Not on that 18.
We thought it was going to be fast and furious in the morning. We were ready to go,
Sea
and
Baker.
it was how long was it until you got to 18? Yeah, look at Steve.
There's his paddle.
Yeah, so it didn't happen right away. Yeah,
Wait, did you use
Yeah.
double paddles in that tournament?
No,
He
I
still
used
won
little
those glasses.
One in
Dude,
each hand.
Steve's on YouTube and
yeah. What is that?
Is that the
Dustin
that
Hoyt.
bike one with the? Has anybody
Now, I
seen
know
that?
Drew was crazy
pedal
about
kayak?
paddling upstream, but I've never seen somebody with the double paddles like that.
yeah.
Um,
Like
Where were we?
skiing upriver.
All right, so the
But the,
18 was
yeah. The 18 was, we'll call it, or it was in that 3-hour window. The 18 was in the 3-hour window, but like next thing I know, like 10 it's like 10:30, and I was starting to sweat. I was trying to figure it out. Like
he's almost
like-
gonna go micro bag it, dude. It's like he's starting to sweat. Hey, what was the 18
I
caught on?
told, everything except for the 19.5 was caught on a 6-inch mag draft.
Okay. So
I caught a lot
Okay.
of my fish on that stretch on mag draft as well, including a trout.
there you go.
Cannibals.
Trout on trout
Uh,
violence.
So you're just going big or going home, and again, it so mirrors that 10-kilo tournament. I threw that. It wasn't a mag draft. It was the Zal Dangerous one. It's basically the same thing, right?
Yep.
I chunked it up there and caught that 20. What was that fish? 22-inch smallmouth, I think, wasn't it? I caught her 21 1/4. So yours was a little bit bigger. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, that's just crazy how wild, like how similar this is, man. These two rivers and how it played out for you. So after the 18, 3 hours go by, you're getting nervous. The water never kicked on. You just somehow got to a different section or just figured it out.
After that 19.5, I was able to get that one off the bed with that 1 ounce punch weight.
Okay.
But after that, it kind of pushed up into a really shallow stretch. And I was sitting on the bank. I was like, we were waiting for like race canoes to go by, like a whole.
Mhm.
It was. We got waked out by canoes at one point. And at some point, I was
Dang.
like, I just have to motor up. Like, I can't keep fishing with these guys coming through. And it was just like a never-ending stream of canoes.
Were there a lot of drift
and-
boats on that section as well?
Yes, there were. And as I'm sitting on the bank, I'm like, okay, the canoes are done finally. Like, let me get a granola bar, a banana. Yes, I had 2 bananas in the boat. That missed. Like, it's not super. Like, I don't know if
cancels
they
it out.
cancel. Is
cancels
that
it
how
out.
that works?
Yeah, the second banana cancels the first one out. You're good.
But
Well, what happens?
The,
if you eat one of them? It throws the valve.
I ate one right there, right before I caught the 22. So I only had one in the boat then. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
but I'm watching this drift boat come through, this fly fisherman, and he's casting out in the middle of this, foot and a half deep, shallow stretch, and I can see pockets in the grass, just fast water, and that's the only spot he was casting in. He comes down through the next rapid, through into the deep bend, and just kind of gets on his oars and just starts blowing through it. Like, this isn't where the trout are. And I just kind of hucked the cast out in the middle and just started winding it back, and it just, like, I don't know, halfway back across the river, it just stopped. And in my head, I was like, oh, that's it. Like, I'm snagged on a rock. And it's like, but I set the hook, because at this point I'm setting the hook on anything that stops my bait. that's how the bite was kind of happening anyway. Like, if they were going to eat that big swim bait, they were going to get all of it.
They folded over.
I had 14s that had 5 inches of that bait in their mouth. So I knew anything that wanted it was going to eat it. So it stopped. I swung on it, and it just stopped. And I was like, oh man, like, snagged. And I look over and I see the fish roll sideways. And I was like, oh my God, that's the biggest smallmouth I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't realize it even had my bait at that point until I realized it was pulling me into the current. I was like, oh, holy cow. Like, that, that's what just stopped my bait. Fortunately, it's, 20-pound fluoro. So, I mean, I just horsed it into the, netted it. It had, I think I could see this, like the line tie out of its mouth. It had the whole thing.
perfect.
And
And that was the 22.
that was a 22.
So
and
that's your second good fish. Yeah, 18, then the 22 came, and then later was the 19 something on the bed.
18, the 19 and a half,
Oh,
then the 22.
Gotcha. Oh,
Um,
that's
You
right.
had
Yeah,
a
you
rat
talked about.
on your stringer, right? You had like a 14 and a half.
yeah.
So, like,
Not
if you would have
at the
caught
end.
that 20 you talked about, you could have actually have made that push to 100 inches. So, like, it was
I think
definitely.
my smallest by the end was, I think, 16 and a half.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Probably got
'Cause
those
I,
standing
like-
somewhere we can pull up.
Like the 22 was like the light bulb, or it was the start of like, it was like the first piece of like the real
Right.
puzzle of how I can get bit. Because I think the 22 was like my fourth fish of the day. And when the trout really started rising in that shallow water, it actually gave me a target to throw at. Like if you've never seen trout rise, it's really subtle, especially in fast current. So it's like, it's hard to coach anybody on how to see that. I used to fly fish a lot. And so it's something that I've kind of trained my eye for, years ago. And when I picked up on that, it was no longer kind of blindly fan casting these big, shallow, fast water flats, because I knew wherever the trout were, the smallmouths were right behind them. They were just waiting for them to grab stuff and get sucked into the current. So it actually gave me a target to cast at. And I went, and I think the last 3 hours, I doubled my catch rate. I caught a 17 and a half and another like 16 and a half, 16 and I think it was a 16 and a half. But
Hey, well, let's hold on. Let's take a look at that. The second one you got, the 19 and a half. Well, I recorded a little video from my cell phone. You didn't have a GoPro running, but this is never before seen. So
world first.
Let's take a look at this.
Nice.
Well,
what are you doing to that fish, man?
I'm checking my photos. What I'm doing.
Oh,
there it
Like,
is.
trying to take a picture down his throat.
About time.
beautiful.
Sticks to his glove though.
Picture's good.
Yeah. Look out.
Stuck on my glove.
All right, that was the
Wow,
second
cool.
one. So an 18 and then the 19 and a half on the bed. And then the third big one was the 22. And I also want to add that Parker's pretty cool. He's a good friend. We were switching back and forth where I was in front, he was in front, and we had basically just switched. And to Parker's point, he had cast just out in the middle and we were upstream. So there was no way to know if there's a rock pile, if there's like something that's holding a fish right there. And he cast up and he doesn't have video of it, but I saw it. The fish cleared the water. So imagine me behind Parker and I see him set the hook. And then I see this 22-inch smallmouth come completely out of the water.
Right.
I was like,
That's
you've got to be
amazing.
kidding.
So
that was
you
a
guys were,
rough day on my heart.
yeah. Oh no,
Between
I
that
can
fish
imagine.
shaking and throwing, and then the the top 10 suspense at the awards. It's like,
Yeah, man, we had a little suspense there for sure. The with the leaderboard going off a couple hours before, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
Especially
we
if people
really put
fishing.
that guy on the hot seat.
Yeah, for real. Were you were floating downstream or you were working your way upstream with motors? How were you attacking the river?
working our way up with the 1103, especially with the clear water. I really didn't want to float. I wouldn't have minded doing like just a blow through all 14 miles of that downstream in practice. But with clear water, any advantage you can get to just sneak up on them.
Yeah, sneak up. And
You
so
gotta
you're
take
saying
it.
you won the Torpedo individual division of the Kayak Adventure Series Wild Whitehall event with a Torpedo 1103.
Yep.
I mean, there you go. That's how you do it. Clearly, that's what made it happen. Billy, you had one too. So
We had
I
two batteries.
specifically,
Yeah, we both
two
had
each.
two batteries. Yeah.
Yep.
This is
I
getting-
specifically brought my CK2 because of how efficient that boat is with the 1103. Like I knew
Right.
even running the rivers, I was like, I can go faster and further on a battery with this boat because I don't load it enough to even float the upper pontoons of that thing. So it just, I think even up current, I was getting like 4.8 if I wanted, 4.8,
Right.
almost 5 most of the time.
And what a lot of
Still,
people
you had
don't
multiple
realize,
batteries.
that river has a lot of volume. Like
Yep.
it's not like it's a bunch of crazy rapids. It's just consistent volume at a high speed.
Constant.
Like you're just constantly pushing up, constantly pushing up. Like even in a jet boat, you're not staying in position, because I went out in a jet boat on Friday to take pictures, and like it is just coming at you. So like you need a boat that'll cut through that water and go upstream. And I think you made a good choice. I mean, I had my CK2 with me there. I didn't take it in anything like that. Like I took it on the White River, which is a lot more tame. But I was, having seen that water, I was like, oh yeah, now I see why he brought that boat. Like it was a good call.
Yeah, it's crazy. That really is eerily similar. Like multiple battery. You guys both loaned me a Torpedo battery for that 10 killer tournament for Bassmaster to have multiple. And you guys have multiple batteries on, obviously not as many as I had, but you got multiple batteries. You're going upstream in this clear water, catching these smallmouth with the swim bait. It's the same basic water temperature, clarity, all of it. It's crazy. Like that's cool, man, that you guys got to, experience that. And it definitely sounds like it was wild. So how did you finish out your day? I mean, you got like we said, the 18, the 19 and a half, and then the, which was you said on a goats, Z-Man goat.
Yeah, the
White,
19 and a half.
yeah, with that tungsten weight.
Baby goat. Yep, white baby goat with I
Awesome.
think it was like a 3/0 Gamakatsu grip pin flipping hook.
Yeah.
Just
That's awesome.
because the fish can't grab that bait on that hook without, like, they could only get the pinchers, I think, without getting the hook. So yeah.
That's cool, man. There's a guy in Florida. If you listen to him, he's one of the best bed anglers in all the Harris chain. I've watched YouTube videos before of him when I was, doing like online research for, I can't remember if it was Hobie or Bassmaster Harris chain. And he uses like a 1 ounce flip and weight for all his bed fishing. He uses a 1 ounce weight. I can't remember why. He explained it, and he is like so dead set on that's the best way to catch fish on the bed with a heavy weight. I can't remember why, but anyway, so that's kind of funny.
Does he use
What's
like
that?
fluorocarbon?
I don't remember.
Interesting.
But anyway, it was very interesting, his take on bed fishing, and it sounds you needed it for it to stay there. But anyway, so then you got the 22, and then you caught more fish. You said you doubled your catch rate, so like a 17 something. You said, what was this? Where's the standings?
At the 22 put me, I think, at 90 and a quarter. And from what I saw in practice, I was like, that's not enough. Like in my head, I was like, that's not enough. I need at least upper mid 90s to feel safe. So even by the end of the day, I called 2 more times and ended with like 93 and a quarter. And on the way back, like, standings are dark at this point. I know what I have in my head. I'm like, at some point you just have what you have. And I was like, I don't know if it's enough. Especially, I camped with Steve Baker, and so that he found essentially the same fish I did in the next 7 miles of that river. We kind of took that 14-mile stretch and just split it. I practiced the upper stretch. He practiced the lower 7. And I was like, okay, like I'll put in here and go up and I won't go down, like that way we weren't stepping on each other's toes, and kind of rough cell service out there.
Miles of that anyways, with how big it is. Like, I think you guys made the right call, because that's a lot of water.
It was a ton, in all of practice. I don't think either of us saw a competitor the whole time we were practicing. I saw Edie Wilkinson on Saturday, and that was, I think, the only competitor that I saw on that stretch of the Muskegon.
Well,
he saw me.
3 days.
Hold on, I gotta stop you right
Billy
there.
Billy
was a competitor, I gotta stop you. Have you guys ever seen the video with the deer that's like caught in the fence, and the guy's like, I'm gonna save this deer, and he goes over to his clippers, and he's like, this is Parker teaching me how to fish. The guy cuts the deer loose from the fence, and the deer runs away, turns, and runs back into the fence, and gets caught again. That's me. So that was an accurate statement that Edie was the only competitor.
So there were people on that stretch Friday. There were 3 people fishing in the tournament. So 2 of them blanked on that stretch, and then the other guy, I think, did catch a limit. So there were people on there Friday.
Got it. Yeah,
I
it
only
was,
know that because we floated it and took pictures of them. So
yeah. But yeah, like not having very good cell service up there, and knowing that Steve was on the same fish just on that other
Yeah.
stretch, I was like, I don't know if not, if his service is as bad as mine. I was like, I don't know if 93 and a quarter is enough.
and Steve
But you guys
actually
didn't
did
see
pretty
the
decent on
standings?
Friday.
Like, you couldn't see the
Um,
standings? Or could you? Like,
No, we saw the standings.
did you have enough
Oh,
service? Like, what did...
Did you see
I
the
saw it
standings?
after I caught the 22, and that was the last time I looked at it.
Gotcha.
I'm not big on checking standings. It's just,
Right.
yeah, it's just the way I kind of am. But I'd rather just, like, at that point, I was just like, okay, I think I know what to do. I'm just going to put my head down and grind, because it's not going to be fast and furious, because I think there's less fish in that shallow, faster water.
Mhm.
But I determined, like, these are the fish that are going to eat every single time. Because that's the only reason they're in that shallow, fast water. It's not a resting spot whatsoever. It was
Right.
fast water.
Yeah.
So
So I bet you weren't
Yeah, I
really
mean,
getting
if you
bit unless you were in that area, that swift water,
yeah,
because they dropped
it
it.
was.
So there probably wasn't. Yeah.
Once I
Go ahead,
once I
Jake. Sorry.
realized where the feeding fish were, it was I would blow through the faster holes. I was looking for fish on beds. I had that
Mhm.
1 ounce weight, because now it's like, okay, now I have something that I can get bit on. And if you've ever fished for a smallmouth on a bed, they're pretty dumb.
Mhm.
They'll eat it over and over and over again, if you just get it there. But I didn't see anything that would really help. Um, and a lot of them actually seem to be in the act of spawning, which is kind of it's a weird phase to, like, try and catch fish that aren't
Mhm.
quite locked on a bed.
right.
So I just kind of abandoned. I was like, if I see one, I know how to catch them. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep going until I hit, like, what fits my parameters of where I'm getting bit.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I
Gotcha. Look
talked
at
to
Preston here.
Preston. Yeah, I talked that
Did
he
you?
was one of the anglers I talked to. Super nice dude. Seems like they had a good time, but that was one of the things I was like, yeah, you almost really need a motor for this, because I caught him floating down, because I believe, I want to say he was in an outlaw floating, and I think that's a tough float. Like, I think going upriver with a motor is really the best way to kind of fish that stretch. So
Mhm.
I mean, it can definitely be done in a float. Don't get me wrong, but
A float trip.
I
Yeah.
think
Downstream with a
yeah,
drag chain.
right.
Still, that's tough. That is tough. Later in the year, when it gets a little like less volume, then I'm sure it's a little easier to do.
Yeah.
So wow. Let's see. You got the standings there, Billy. Yeah. So your smallest was a 16 and a half. So still a good fish, and but
I mean, the
if you would have
standings were
caught that
pretty
one that was
close there.
19
Look
or
at
20, you would have been
There's a
pushing
lot
that
of
upper
log jam in
90s.
that 87 to 88 range. And what's
Mm-hmm.
interesting to me is a lot of those guys were on White Lake, right? So it made me wonder, is like, did they cannibalize each other? Was there 100 inches there? Was there, like, mid 90s there if, like, less people were on that lake?
Yeah.
So
I just think the bite was not that great compared to pre-fishing. And like, think about that Wednesday nighter that the Wednesday before. It took 89 and something to win on a 3-hour tournament. And look at this, we have a day and a half, and this is what it just the bite sometimes. And I believe
it
this
might
to
have
be
been just
true
the
because
front coming through,
everybody didn't get like what they expected to catch. Everybody. That tells me that obviously the world and the moon and the weather and everything, it affects all those fish together. You know what I mean? It does. I mean, it really does. So I'm gonna let you guys go, and I'm gonna pull up a video. You guys should roll through those team standings, roll through just whatever some of the main highlights,
I have
and
a
then keep
video too that we can
grilling.
play before you go that I think Drew will enjoy.
Yep,
So let me know when you
yep.
want me to
I
play
want to
that.
see it. See anything you
You want
got,
to do
and
it
then
now? All right.
what is
So
it?
this
You
is
said
actually
yeah.
to set this up. This is on the same general area as Mr. Parker was on. This is a clip that was submitted through our portal by Edie, and I think it really is just, I don't know, it made me happy watching it. So let's cue it up.
Good for you, Edie. Filming. Great angle.
She's so happy.
Love the emotion. That's awesome. That's what we're talking about. How hard was that,
She was like,
guys, to get this clip? I know, Ryan, you had an issue with your GoPro, so I'm not ragging on you, but how hard was that, guys? It's not that hard. Hardwired in, put that GoPro back there, and look what you get. Memory forever right there. You just got a good one. Top female angler right there.
Yeah, she actually submitted that in 2 parts. I
She
might
had to have heard me around the corner. Like 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes after I released that 22, she came like around the corner. I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Really good."
1725. 1725.
That's a pretty nice one.
Nice.
Nice.
And I will
Nice
say, it
job,
looks like that
17-2.
fish is post spawn. Like it looks like it was probably, had already spawned. It was a little skinny, so it probably already was on the bed. So
No, it looked like it. Some may have already spawned. Some, obviously, I think your idea of going up there, that cooler water, was kind of interesting because you got to find them in the stage of the spawn you wanted them, and it probably saved you because if they're not feeding good, getting that one extra fish off that bed. I always tell people tournaments are won by a bonus fish you never knew or expected. You figured out on tournament day, like, oh, they came up schooling next to you. Throw over there, boom, I got an 18. That's like a bonus you never expected for your main pattern, or a bed fish here or there. You know what I mean? That you just stumbled onto in tournament day when your main pattern ended up being that mag draft. That's how tournaments are won. So the fact that they weren't running the current as much, I think the bite died. And then you were fortunate, but it's not really fortunate because you did your research and you found those fish were going to be at that stage of the spawn where some were still spawning. So you were able to pick off that fish and you saw others spawning and had a chance for those. And that gave you 2 little things to work in that area, especially when the current was not running and they weren't, putting the feedback on. So that was really, really good strategy there to have. Plus you had your largemouth hole too. You got like this 3-prong approach as well. So the thing I wanted to say before I leave, though, ask, I guess, Ryan, how was the awards? Was that pretty cool? I mean, was it pretty dramatic? You had no clue if you won, right? And we did the kite cushion hot seat thing. Yeah. Okay, that's cool, man. That's cool. So it was very genuine reactions.
Steve called me after we got off the water, and that made me feel a little bit better because again, I knew he had a shot at it. And so when he called me and kind of told me, I was like, okay, I feel a little bit better, but I'm still like even going into it ahead of time, I was like mid upper 90s is at least going to have a shot. So just being, sub 95, I was still kind of in the dark. Didn't quite know where I was at there until we're down to the last 4 or 5 people to call up. So like my heart was just pounding the whole time.
Yeah, cool, man. It was a good show. It was. I know, like Billy, Jake, what do you guys think? I think it was like from the first one we did, now having some experience, I think this one was, way better in terms of our presentation and all that. We still have things that were some kinks that we're working out, but man, it was exciting. You guys did a great job.
We definitely were way more prepared because like Billy was able to sit down and I'm like, don't worry, it's done. And he was like, great. Like, and what I mean by done is like I already put the fish in, which believe it or not, is a super time consuming process. Yeah. So last time we decided to wait till the last minute.
Jake does so much work. He did so much work on this one and the last one.
Crushed it. Both of you guys, man, you crushed it. We need the anglers just to get a little bit more footage for us. I mean, look how many fish were caught that were 17.5, 18 inches, and how do we not have just a cell phone shot of them like that Russ Snyder clip? Just saying,
Billy bailed
18,
Ryan out. He really did. He bailed him
we
out.
got pictures
with the pictures and the video of the release.
You guys should show those pictures for sure. Show those pictures. And but I will say this before I leave. I had a fun time there. I'm going to share this video again. I showed this at the theater, but we'll show it again if for those who weren't there. Let's see if I can get this going here. So I couldn't show this until afterwards. So I didn't want to give away anything, but I was on a river as well in the area and caught some good ones here as I adjust my camera. All right, guys, Kayak Adventure Series, Wild Whitehall. It is definitely a wild place out here. I'm getting a little bit of time on the water myself. Can't let you guys have all the fun. And turns out there are some pretty nice fish in this area. This is a 20 3/4, maybe touching 23/4 almost. I think I might have got her to touch. So 20 1/2, if not 3/4. But man, what a beautiful fish. This area is unreal, and this tournament is going to be wild. Let's let her go. So, anyway, so we let her go here. She kind of swims off eventually here. Can let her breathe.
She's whipped.
There she goes.
Undisclosed
She takes off.
river
There
in
she is.
Michigan.
Come on, take off.
There she
There she
moseys
goes.
along. So, and that was a beautiful, beautiful section I was on. And I lost another one. Jeff Little has it on video, guys. I lost another 20-incher. I caught an 18.5, and honestly, they were blowing up my top water. I just could not stop throwing it. And I switched to spinnerbait for half an hour, and every single spot that I was getting bit on the top water, I got bit and caught every fish. But then I went back to the top water, and somebody of them would blow it out of the water, the Chapo. But I didn't care because I knew people were fishing a tournament. I didn't really want to like just sting every fish. But I was like, all right, whatever. I just want to see big blow-ups. And like I said, that was the same pre-fishing days that everyone else said they were smashing them. No doubt about it. If I would have been throwing a chatterbait or a spinnerbait and really wanted to catch this fish with that 20 3/4, the other one I lost, it was 20, and 18.5 I caught, and others that were in that 18 to 20, I felt like I could have had mid upper 90s, if not pushing 100 inches on that one half day of fishing that I did too. So they are in there. Whitehall is an awesome area. I'd love to go back sometime. I think we could hit that kind of almost 100-inch mark there. But maybe we'll get back there.
I would gladly go back. I had a blast.
Yeah, I would love it.
I caught fish on my first 3 casts in Michigan when Drew and I went.
Yeah,
literally,
it was awesome.
I think 100's easy up there.
Yeah, I do too, man. I think it just didn't quite.
I know what I saw in practice, and I was a little reserved with it, ahead of time, as most of us are. But I felt like I could get 90 inches out of that stretch of river because I saw, mid 80s in about every corner of that river. Every tight bend had mid 80s to 90s in it.
And all the rivers and all the lakes too. I'm telling you, people were I heard someone say to me, it's going to be one here at X. I'm not going to say the lake, but well, I could, because they said I literally heard almost every single lake on that whole thing and every river like mentioned. I'm serious. They were all like, I caught a 20 something out of this. I caught a 19.5 and a 21 over here. I'm like, I'm here at all these different places. So I'll let you guys finish up whatever, a few minutes left or whatever y'all going to do. Probably stayed on here longer than I should have. The kids are probably going crazy behind me. If not, maybe even they're asleep. So who knows? But man, Ryan, congrats again. Billy, Jake, good job, guys, man. I appreciate all your help. And you guys don't get enough credit for how hard that whole presentation is. And I really appreciate you guys big time, man. I can't wait for Ozarkana. So we'll see how it goes. Billy, I think, is that the one you're going to be at home running the show from home, and Jake and I will be there?
Yeah, we're going to see how that works out.
We'll see how that works. Yeah. All right.
We need those Moyak boys to sign up.
Let's see if Moyak let's see if somebody can break 93 and a quarter, because let's have a little Michigan Ozarkana battle here. I mean, heck, you could even obviously break the Georgia score, but I think that's going to be a lot tougher over there in Ozarkana. But I think 100 inches is doable.
I've seen some of the tournaments on a couple of those water bodies lately, and I'm like, oh, interesting. There's been some 20 bags on some of these tournaments coming out of them.
Yeah.
So,
well, I'll see you guys next week. We'll try to have Ozarkana preview again with Josh Booth and some guys. Oh, last thing, I don't know if you guys can show it. Actually, last thing. I do want to just have you guys put up here the not the slide, maybe the slides.
The AOY.
No, the AOY. Don't forget to do the AOY, and also hit up those the 2025 stops. Paris, Texas, the Paris Reel Fest, and show them the slides. Show everyone listening here the slide that we showed at the theater for the South Boston Bassathon, and right there at South Boston, Virginia, right on the border of North Carolina, Virginia. North Carolina lakes and bounds, Virginia lakes and rivers and bounds as well. It's going to be a battle of the border right there in North Carolina, Virginia for that one. So stops 1, 2, and 3, Ocalapalooza, Paris Reel Fest, South Boston Bassathon are announced for 2025 in those dates. So you guys should show those, and I'll catch you guys later. I'm going to go try to get some kids to bed and get some sleep myself. Catch some smallies tomorrow, hopefully. See ya.
All right. Go catch them. Bye, Drew.
Yeah, so I'll be going down to Ocala in July, so I'll get a little preview of that one. This should be interesting.
We should jump in and look at this a little bit. No surprise, right? It's not a surprise. Ryan Parker in first place, 2 events, 184 points. Weicker Alex Rudd, Dustin Hoy. This is fun. It's fun. And then we also wanted to
Billy's on there.
Billy
Billy's there?
Chambers,
Oh
right
my
there at
God, I'm in
8th.
8th place. Yeah,
Billy, you sure you're not coming to Ozarkana? You gotta
I know.
keep climbing, man.
I know. Dang it.
I got a spot for us.
Are you going, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm signed up already.
Okay. That's my home waters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Steve Baker's on there, Travis Von Newman. Like it's Ramon. You know what? I wanna throw this out there to you guys. We should I know Alex, Rudd, and Drew are the show for the live. We gotta get Ramon on stage. How do we make that happen?
Dude, you guys missed it. You didn't come to the brunch and you didn't see what a team player he was. Not only did he make the brunch, he asked the most questions and he asked good questions and he was like really involved. So when the seminar goes live, you guys will get to see his engagement. So
Yeah.
it was cool.
The other thing we wanted to talk about a little bit was the Crocagator, right?
Right. It's important.
So we do like 15% payout, but we're gonna do 20%. Don't listen to anything I say.
Here, I'll explain it. I got
Yeah, there could be 5 additional people that get paid
so
out.
depending on how many people sign up for Ozarkana, Crocagator is donating $500 extra so that we can pay out that many more places out of the money. So typically, let's say we get 100 people, we would pay out what? 15%, 15 people, right? Easy
Yeah.
peasy. Instead of that, we'll pay out 20 people. So it'll be a little extra. I mean, it won't be like a huge payout, but it kind of covers, some costs, which is cool. Props
sure.
to Crocagator. They're a big staple with Moyak, big staple in Missouri. So
Yeah.
exciting.
I do like it's cool when like someone that's not from the area wins, but there's another part of me that like I want a local person, like a Moyak. I want a local person to like show what they've got, So that's kind of cool. I hope Moyak like shows up, and I've been
I
looking
think
at some
they
of the-
will. They're
Yeah.
notorious for waiting till the last minute, but
Yeah.
hey, who
That's-
aren't we all? That's just like kayak anglers in general. So, I mean, they only had like 20 people signed up for Table Rock West. I think by the actual tournament, they had like 67 or something. So, like, literally in like a 24-hour window, they doubled. So,
I think about that all the time. Like when I'm doing my map study, like looking at some of the smaller creeks that I'm like, I don't know if it's worth the gamble. Like if this was my home area, I'd know, like I fished some pretty small creeks in and around central Ohio and catch some giants, but I've learned those rivers and those creeks so well that I know where to go and how to do it. But yeah, like the local knowledge, if you've got it, just sign up.
when it
Like
comes to this event in Ozarkana, and I'm just talking in complete absolutes, no knowledge on it, it is literally any of those waters will win this tournament. You can't pick a river, lake, stream on this that's going to be bad. Now, obviously, you gotta decide if it's going to be crowded, if not crowded, too many people, fish your strengths, et cetera, et cetera. But I think all the waters inbound on Ozarkana has the potential to just be fire. And I will point out, this is going to be a little bonus for you guys who like catching extra species. It has been confirmed that in the southern regions of some of our inbound waters, snakehead have become in the waters. Like they've caught 9 snakehead the last 2 weeks down south of Wapapello, Mingo, Duck, whatever it's called. They've been catching snakeheads. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing. Some people like them, but bonus fish for you guys that are looking to catch a snakehead.
I've never caught one, so
yeah, me either. So
yeah, if you want to increase your, we talked about it before, but increase your social media presence, catch a snakehead, release it, record it, put it online.
Don't release it. Don't release it. The DNR is going to be mad if you do that. Make sure if you do catch a snakehead,
everyone will be. I didn't know. I was in Florida. I was in South Florida. I did not know.
I don't think there's any stopping them because they've caught so many, and they haven't really wrecked the ecosystem in any of the waters they were in. At least like that's what some studies have said. Like I'm sure there's going to be someone like, well, actually, but I know that in Virginia they just don't even care anymore. They're just like they're not doing anything. So, but I mean, you could argue that anytime you introduce a predator, it like competes with the bass. So I kind of disagree with those people that say that, but we'll see. Hopefully they don't get above Wapel Dam. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably end it. We'll end this here, but I want to make sure that we say we want to give the champion of Wild Whitehall the last word, but we want to make sure that we say we're going down to Florida, then we're going to Texas, and then we're going out to Boston area. I forget all the. I don't have all the graphics.
Boston, which is on
Yeah.
the border there of Virginia and North Carolina.
Yeah.
So south Boston.
South. Okay. Cool.
We're not going to
So-
actual Boston. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, but it's kind of it's not kind of it's absolute proof that there's a lot of work and there's a lot of deliberate thought put into the schedule, and this wasn't a couple tournaments, a 1 year thing. This is like next year is already planned out, and I think he has like the year after that. I don't.
Yeah,
I
we've
don't
already
know.
got like a lot of chambers of Congress or Commerce are like really pumped and like they want to be involved in this. Like it's good to see. Like we love working with the cities. That's honestly the best part. Whitehall Chamber of Commerce was awesome. White Lake, I should say, is.
Yeah, it was White Lake. Yeah. All right. I want to hit the outro music, but Parker, anything else you want to add? Any juice you want to give everyone before we end it?
You want to talk any smack, anything?
Billy, well, you have a tournament this weekend. Never mind. I was gonna talk trash and challenge Billy to a river limit, but he's got a tournament on East Harbor, so
Yeah.
so there's that. I didn't do it on stage. I forgot. Shame on me. I wanted to say thanks to my wife for holding down the fort while I'm gone, doing these things for a couple days and handling the kiddo and stuff. As always, a big shout out to Loveland Paddle Sports in Southwest Ohio for having me on their team and supplying me with everything I need to get up or down a river. And Fireball Outdoors for Joe for putting up with my weird ideas when it comes to making jigs and sticking with me with that. And I wanted to also throw out, I took a part of my winnings and I donated them to Veterans Kayak Fishing. They're out of Georgia. It's an organization that helps get veterans and first responders just going through stuff, kind of out into the outdoors, involved with kayak fishing to kind of regroup and find a little bit of peace. It's done a lot for me as a veteran. I kind of found it on my own, and I thought that was a good thing. And I also donated some to Adventure Crew Cincy, which helps some kind of underprivileged youth get outside in all aspects of nature and the outdoors, paddling, fishing, hiking, all sorts of stuff. So if you can give back,
I like it.
Yeah, underprivileged. That's amazing. And I kind of wanted to introduce. I wanted to say, U.S. Marine, American hero. Like I wanted to do all that stuff, but I never know the right way to say all that. So thank you for your service. Ryan Parker is dude. It's amazing. And then you're donating to the local kayak. They get underprivileged kids, people in the community in that area, and they bring them out and they give them rods and they get them in kayaks and they take them out and fish. That's cool what Loveland Kayak is doing. So
if you've never seen the Ohio River Paddle Fest, they shut down the entire Ohio River in Cincinnati for this thing, and it's thousands and thousands of kayakers paddling down the river. It's really, really cool. So if you're in and around that Cincinnati area, definitely look it up, sign up, register. It's a cool whole event. The last couple of years they've done a fishing tournament in conjunction with it. And usually the prize packages are really good. So
yeah. All right. Well, listen, guys, we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, I thought I hit the button.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct
Here
your
we
attention
go.
to something
So,
quite
in case you guys missed it, Parker only saw one competitor while he was out on the water. If you missed that, go back to the beginning and start over. And congratulations again, champion Wild Whitehall Kayak Adventure Series, stop number 2. Thanks, man, and thank you, Jake, for all the work for knocking it out of the park. We can't wait to see you guys in Ozarkana. Bye, everyone.
Hey, this adventure is gonna be amazing.